Today, we are looking at two brand new, never before seen cards coming to us in the Nightcrawler Hero Pack. We have one hero specific card, and then one card from the greatest of all the aspects, protection. So let's dive into some epic new cards. We're going to start out by looking at the hero card of the day, and also side note, these cards are linked down below with their high resolution version, so please use those to spread around the internet instead of clipping the screen. It's a little bit easier. But back to their hero card. This is an upgrade that Villain Theory and I speculated that Kurt would have in the initial React video that we did, and this is Kurt's cutlasses. And yes, I had to practice saying that multiple times before this video. Say it 5 times fast. It's pretty tough. But anyways, Kurt's cutlasses, there we go, is a 2-cost upgrade that counts as 2 restricted cards. And after the discussion and the previews that we got yesterday, it was really fun to be sitting on this card to watch everyone kind of speculate online. It was fun. But 2-cost upgrade, 2 restricted cards. It gives Nightcrawler +1 attack, +1 defense, and retaliate 1. That's a lot of value right there. And it brings this already defense-focused stat line up from a 2-1-3 to a 2-2-4. We get 4 defense just in the base kit, which is super excited. It is weapon traded, so we can go grab it with either a superpower training or a lock and load from the aggression aspect, which makes it very easy to get into play. And having 4 defense in the kit makes me absolutely giddy for this hero. Add on to that, we now have retaliate, so Kurt wanting to either defend with his basic with that 4 defense, or using his signature card Bamf, we now get a little bit of ping damage with that retaliate. So every time after you defend, you get to ping, which is awesome for reasons that we will dive into deeper later in the video. Honestly, I look at this as like a combination of a combat training, an armored vest, and an electrostatic armor or dauntless or something like that. The value of this card is pretty great. There's a lot going on and a lot of impact when it does hit the table. I can't wait to be defending for like 5 with this and an armored vest. That makes me happy, and the perfect defense build is going to work great with the next spoiler card we're going to dive into. The downside here is that it does take up 2 restricted slots, and I had a plan to talk all about side holster here, opening up more restricted slots, but yesterday we got a reveal for his tail, which is another one of his upgrades, which allows him to have an additional restricted slot. So both thematically and mechanically, very awesome, and I'm here for it. So we do have an extra restricted slot that we can run for anything that may be coming in his kit. I'm kind of hoping that we get a protection restricted card, something along those lines. Or if we're running out of green for some reason, I don't know why you would. No, I'm just kidding. But like you can run like a hand cannon or something like that to give you some overkill whenever you are looking for that restricted slot. Actually, a sonic rifle would be pretty good too. But yes, you can have, I guess, 4 restricted items now with or 4 restricted slots used. With his tail and a side holster, you can really expand that out, and it looks pretty awesome. But let's move into the protection card of the day. We have Repost. Now this card fits directly into my favorite archetype in all of Marvel Champions, which is the perfect defense. Now, what that means is you don't want to be taking damage, and you get to trigger all your upgrades and different events that trigger off of defending and not taking any damage. And this fits right there with it, because this is a 1-cost defense event that gives the player +2 defense for an attack, and if they take no damage, then you get to deal 3 damage to the attacking enemy. The formula of like take no damage, get this cool thing, I love, and now we have great options for threat removal, readying, applying status cards, and we have another damage effect to add to our cool kit. There are a couple of cards that we can compare Repost to, like Powerful Punch is an attack and defense card, and it should be noted that Repost is not attack traded, so we can get around guard, we can get around stun, all of these things that would turn Powerful Punch into a card you cannot use. You can use with Repost, so there is a little bit of a upside in Repost. Now, Powerful Punch, you don't have to defend in order to get it to trigger. It also costs a little bit more. I think they can occupy different spots in a deck. I don't actually think that they come and really fit, but I just kind of did a search for defense events that deal damage, and Powerful Punch popped up, so I wanted to talk about that. Next, we have Preemptive Strike. I think Repost is a better version of Preemptive Strike. It can get you up to 4 damage with because Preemptive Strike counts the boost icons and cancels the boost icons and deals them as damage. So it can get you up to 4 damage and effectively 4 damage prevented, but you can also get 0. So unless we're running some sort of way to manipulate the boost icons that are coming into play, either shield or other allies or something like that, I probably would prefer the consistency of a Repost over Preemptive Strike, but also Preemptive Strike doesn't require you to defend, so it does have that going for it. I still think Repost makes it into a bit more of my decks than Preemptive Strike will at this point, but they also can fit different situations, which is what I love about the expanding nature of this game, is you start to get Preemptive Strike works for both of these decks. Now, if you're running I'm not going to defend deck, Preemptive Strike still works. But if you are running I'm exhausting to defend, now you have a Repost. And so you can kind of pick and choose the tools that you're going to take to the table, which is nice. And then the final comparison here, we're going to look at Sidestep. Sidestep's pretty similar. You can prevent 3 damage, then deal 1 damage. Again, you don't need to defend to trigger this, but I like the ratio for Repost a little bit more than Sidestep. Sidestep I really haven't been running in my decks for a while. But again, it deals damage, and it's a defense event. But all of that to be said, what I'm most excited to use this card for is the other new card that came in our initial reveal article, Change of Fortune. So now we can start to see a whole new archetype starting to form. Change of Fortune is a 1-cost upgrade that states after you take out an enemy in the villain phase, you get to draw 2 cards. So now with Repost and Retaliate from his cutlasses, we have some pretty cool options to trigger this card. We can start taking out those minions and start drawing some cards. Then we combo this with the card that was revealed in Villain Theory's video earlier this week, Come Get Me Bub, which is a great card and a great name, where you go get a minion. You then get to heal some damage, get a tough status card, so you don't actually need to worry about the villains attacking you, right? Because now you have this tough status card, that attack can get soaked, then you can use your defense cards or your defense activation to run minion control and draw cards as you go. So it feels like our minion summoning / defending against minions shaping up to be a really cool new archetype that we're going to get to run. We still don't have all of the cards, and so I'm guessing that we're going to see a couple more ways that this gets supported in this kit, but now I'm just I'm so pumped to try Nightcrawler in green, but also some older heroes. I'm looking at Thor, getting and taking out minions in the villain phase, but also using the Come Get Me Bub to get minions and then get to draw cards there. And then in the villain phase, it just seems so cool. There's a lot of really cool cards coming in the Nightcrawler pack, and I am so pumped to try them out. What are your thoughts on these 2 new cards? Let me know down in the comments, and I look forward to chatting with you all about them. Thanks for watching. I hope you all are as excited about these new cards as I am, and we'll talk to you next time. Peace.